Pete, you made a real good point earlier about how I might want to build a control that looks like something on my plant floor.
Yep.
Well, this particular gauge does not come with a little tiny light here. Oh, so you know what? Maybe what I'll do is I'll grab a widget or a gadget, and I'm going to, you know, kind of put that on the same drawing surface, and I want to be able to align those things, you know, down their middles or down their centers or whatever I want.
The HAL 9000.
You know, exactly. And exactly. And then I want to be able to use, you know, your standard controls, whether you right mouse click or use your standard toolbars. So those things are now grouped together, and you'll notice that, I mean, just like any other design environment, I can manipulate those things. Geez, I'm running out of breath here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to be clear, this is entirely a Silverlight application that we're looking at here.
This is all Silverlight.
Cloud-backed on the back end.
Yep.
Then I assume the way that you're actually getting the data sources is something that depends on each different system. There's some publishing API.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where the Cogent DataHub, which I don't have a demo for here, Cogent DataHub runs on the thick client on the server environment. And what it allows me to do is to configure all of the data that I want to be able to emit to expose. So that the data hub is the aggregator. It's the thing that allows me to say, I want to tie into this OPC system, or I want to tie into this Excel spreadsheet, or I want to tie into a SQL Server relational database, or a web service, whatever. Once the data hub has a hold of it, this is just a case of being able to visualize it. So the DataHub WebView is the visualization tool.
So I have a follow-up question regarding, you know, Silverlight and platform choices. I mean, there's a lot of choices right now that you can make of different platforms that are available. What brings you to, like, why Silverlight? Why did you choose Silverlight ultimately?
There are so many different reasons. First of all, I am, for many years now, a .NET developer. And so I absolutely love the strength and the power and the extensiveness of the .NET framework. So having to go out and learn Silverlight, I originally thought was going to be a pain. I'd have to learn something new. And what I discovered was, well, no, you just use Silverlight. I mean, it's .NET. So this entire thing is coded in C#. So from a developer perspective, it was wonderful. From a visualization perspective, let me just drill in here, and you tell me if we can figure out why we like this. You'll recall that I group these things together.
Yep.
So you'll notice that right now, if I try to select that, I'm actually selecting the group. But I can also use some fancy keystrokes that we've got in here. I can actually just hold the control key down and select an element that's within the group, which is a really nice design feature that we like. But you'll notice that, I mean, I can tie these things to obviously to colors, etc. But here's one of the real nice reasons that our developers like it. I mean, look at the quality and the scalability of that control.
Yeah.
I mean, that's phenomenal graphics running inside a browser. So I just don't think that there's anything.
So what do you think?
I'm absolutely thoroughly impressed. Just walking by and seeing the previous screen that you had, the colors just caught me.
Cool.
And then I wanted to know. Of course,
thank you, random tech editing.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, I didn't pay that guy, honestly.
One of the things that's really cool, and I think Pete, this kind of goes back to a question you had a little bit ago, is can you bind these things together? So we can take any property of any control and bind it to any data point whatsoever. So I could choose to take this control right now. There's my light, and you'll notice that right now it's flashing. I'm going to choose, just for demonstration purposes, to bind this to a point that I know called auto set mode, and you'll notice that right now it's still flashing because the checkbox is showing that, and in fact I guess I can zoom in a little bit here, see it, but I mean you can see that light is flashing.
Yep.
Well, if I just come very quickly over to the other screen, you may recall we had this thing here. Well, this checkbox there happens to be bound to the same point. So if I turn that off, you'll notice the light has stopped flashing over there.
Excellent.
And that's in your real-time designer, mind you.
Yes.
This is
something. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. This is a design mode right now, so it's interacting even in design mode.
I haven't published this. I haven't done anything. But there is there's really no difference between design mode and run mode. You'll notice if I just come back over to this one again, Pete, I'm just going to go into kind of a zoom to fit mode. But you'll notice that here's how I enter run mode, and here's how I exit run mode. I mean, this isn't a deployment difference. This is really just a permissions and a configuration difference.
Kind of the ultimate design time data feature here.
Well, and that's why a lot of our clients really like it, because I don't have to install something and then quote unquote publish it for the web.
Yep.
You're running the app.
And they don't have to like pink either.
Well, they don't have to like pink. So for the sake of illustration, I might, obviously let's get rid of that darn pink. And one of the things that we can do is we can actually set this up. You'll notice here in run mode, we can actually choose to use either the background color of the page, or I can actually use the HTML background. Nice. So because this is running as Silverlight, it's a ZAP file. So I can actually run this as a web part inside any other application. Right?
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, so this is, what version of Silverlight are you using?
Silverlight 4.
So this is Silverlight 4. I know you're looking at some of the cool stuff in 5.
Yep.
Great. So very excited to see that.
I am, yep.
And this is, to be clear, this is an application that's in production
This
or
is in production right now. I'm flying to Japan in June to show some of our distributors and early adopters how to actually make this thing work.
So this is a Silverlight application that real people are using.
Yes.
Right? This is not just demoware.
No.
Excellent. And can you give me an example of a couple of the types of things your customers are doing with it?
We've got one company that's trying to build a visualization of that wind turbine farm.
Yep.
So they actually have thousands of wind turbines, and they break the turbines up into, kind of different rows and columns, whatever. And they'll have a page for each of those groups of turbines, and then they'll have a management page that has the pages inside that. So the operator can sit there, or the manager can sit there, and they can see energy output for an individual group of turbines, a server set, or they can double click and drill in, and they can see that the actual blades of the propellers are moving in real time with the physical device.
Excellent.
So that's one example. Lots of different stuff. We've got companies that are very interested in using this for system management because of the real-time aspect of it. I can look at CPU processor utilization. I can look at disk space allocation. I can look at all that kind of stuff.
Never really thought of that.
How do these companies feel about the deployment? Like when they come in and they realize how useful it'll be, and they want to actually put it to use.
Yeah.
How do they deploy this? How do they actually get it up and running?
It's been actually a bit of a challenge because there's almost an emotional or a legacy hurdle they have to overcome. Most shops are using legacy Windows type solutions, thick client solutions for this that they install on the plant floor. So the idea of running Silverlight, they're very intrigued, but it's so new for them that they're having a little bit of a hard time figuring out, well, how do I manage this thing?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's not. This is not your typical line of business application.
No.
These are people running with things running on hardened machines out on the floor that are encased in aluminum and steel. And cool.
And
I'm glad to see that this
investment. I mean, the plants when they shift from one set of technologies to another, they do it for 10 years.
I do a lot of stuff with CNC, and so I've done research on that, and I've seen what some of the shop floors run for CNC, and it's like command line interface type stuff, and graphics from about 1987 or so. So I totally understand.
Well, you just said something that was really interesting. About 2 months ago, after we released version 1.0, which is running on .NET 4, one of our clients said, well, but all of their machines are only running on .NET 2.
Right.
And they didn't want to have to upgrade all of the operator machines to run .NET 4.
Is this the hub you're talking about, or
this was the actual in order to support Silverlight and all that, right? Yes. Silverlight 4. So this was also the design machine. So we took about a week and we just kind of stripped out one or two things just so it would run on .NET 2. But that kind of gives you an idea. They didn't want to upgrade their hardware because there were hundreds of machines.
Excellent. Well, this has been really exciting, and this is not the typical type of application that I see our customers build, so it's nice to see somebody out there that's building something unique. I love the design surface and the real-time data that's coming through on that. I know even outside of this particular area of industry that a lot of people are looking at building design surfaces in Silverlight, so it's awesome to see somebody who's completed that and has one that's highly functional.
It's been a lot of fun, and we just absolutely love the idea that the design surface is part of the app.
Yeah.
You navigate to the URL and away you go, so it's pretty cool.
We have a lot of customers with creative ideas, and a lot of our customers have these ideas. It's nice to see these things kind of come together, and you've done a fantastic job.
Thank you, David.
Excellent. Well, thank you, and enjoy the rest of Tech Ed.
Excellent.